Hello everybody, welcome to another Zabbix video. This time we are talking about server monitoring and server monitoring using active checks only, which can obviously be applicable to Zabbix, to Linux monitoring or Windows monitoring. This video really targets that we decide that only active checks will be used, and there is no firewall rule to even allow passive checks. And also it will be this can be applicable only if you have a kind of style to always keep single interface at the server. Only then this will make some sense. Okay, and the idea is that when we use active checks, we obviously want to use Zabbix agent auto registration to automatically allow new servers inside the Zabbix and automatically apply the template, assign the host group. And what's interesting is that when these objects are coming to Zabbix, they will have interface. And for the active checks, the interface is not really required, and it creates some side effects, which will, this video will talk about side effects and how we can fight with them and how maybe there is a solution. Okay. There is a dashboard, host availability, and this time we're talking about unknown interfaces and this particular number. So I was highlighting that this video relates to active checks, onboarding active agents, and deciding to use template which has only active checks. But this number actually relates, this line agent passive, because it's impossible to onboard an active agent without having interface. And first of all, this is not clickable. We do not know what is behind this number yet. And I'm saying that one of popular reasons where host will be behind this number is Zabbix agent auto registration. So if you use auto registration, then it might add up elements here every time you onboard new servers, Linux servers, Windows servers. Also, this number relates. We can see over here. I know this is the answer where the number comes. If I click the green red icon, I see active checks are perfectly working fine, but since the host object is having interface, it creates this number. This unknown is exactly the reason why there is one host added to that number 4. If I click on something else, here, another IP address, so unknown. So it's 2 already here, and I'm saying onboarding active checks will create this unknown interface because we do not use interface. And the problem is onboarding active checks, active agents, it's impossible to not add any interface. Okay, now more on the solution side to gain a little bit control, what is that number? Let's see again, here is number 4. There is actually a database call available. I will put somewhere at the trigger description, and that database call looks like this. I'm calling this query, interface is not used by any passive items, and voila, we have 4 rows, which really highlights which host object is having this, how to call it, a garbage interface, which is not really in use. We can really remove it. I will click here, remove, update, and now that number inside the dashboard, it should start to decrease, since it's fetching, I think, it decreased on real time. So yeah, I manually removed that interface. The next phase in this video, like how to recognize these things without this extra module, like this SQL exporter. That's not the native functionality. I will put some links, like if you like to have this, but it's still like third-party module. What are the options to extract, unpack these unknown interfaces? And I came up with a workaround which will use internal item. There is a template. Inside the template there is one built-in item which can ask like what is the status of host interface for passive checks. So this guy. So what I'm doing is like I have active template, and inside the active template there will be this guy out from the box. Like active template will tell if active checks is not available by using this internal item. But what's not inside the active template is some almost not related thing, like asking like what's the situation with the passive checks. And the reason why I'm using this, because I did not find any good workaround, like how to tell which host objects are having this secondary interface which is never used. And so far my idea is inside this passive item, if we look on the mapping over here, the passive mapping is like this. If the passive checks is working, the number is 1. If the passive checks is not working, it's 0. If there is unknown situation, exactly like our situation, like interface is there, but no item was used this interface, like ever. It was never used, and it will never be used. So the item by default on the active template, it will almost always, if there is interface, it will always report this big number 2. So yeah, 2, and then on the top of that I decided there is another internal item which is actually printing back text, and which is capable to count how many interfaces are on the host object defined. So it's practically report textual data, JSON, but I made a dependent item which is counting how big is the JSON, and like it will report the number. So yeah, overall, like what happens is passive check, most of the time it will report number 2, and if there is some interfaces defined on the host, then it will be like more than 0. And what I'm doing at the end, like I'm creating this calculated item which is taking that number 2 and adding the amount of interfaces on the host level. So practically, if we have if we use active checks and the host was onboarded, it will have one interface which is not used. This will report number 2, and this will be 1. So in total it's 3. But if there, by some accident, there are more interfaces, then the number will be like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and so on. And yeah. Let's create a dashboard like of this item to see the goods, how it is helping us. And I will edit the dashboard, add here widget, choose the widget, top hosts, and add columns, host name, host, add, and inside the item, click, item is here, and I will search psum, click passive sum, okay, and 0, and the threshold will be like the red, or 1, 2, 1, 0, 3, and okay, add, and the top n, like the biggest number will be on the top. Add, click, or no, the order is wrong. psum must be leading column. Add, and voila! Finally, like some conveniences happen. So we are worried like where this number comes from, and this is giving hint. Possibly it comes from here. In the beginning, I mentioned like one big reason can be auto-registration. There can be other reasons like using ping monitoring, but in my instance, I'm using auto-registration as a way to breathe. It's absolutely necessary. And now, like we have control here, like we can open the item, check the host interface. Okay, we see like remove button is active, so it's possible to remove. Click, update. Let's remove like more. This is changing really in real time. That's nice. This host, this is not. Maybe I'd click that before host. And this one again, remove, update, and yeah, this is receiving updates in real time. And let's maybe remove this one as well, update. Okay, and so no unknown passive interface. That's awesome. And this guy will also kind of reset. It will go back to number 2 eventually, and have more greenness. Okay, now more about solving the problem into the roots. Like this is giving framework to give you power, at least understand and try to play it safe and fix it manually one by one. The problem is coming when we are like we continue to use auto-registration, and all the new hosts will always have this problem. Like every new onboarded host which use only active checks, it will add up to this number. And I started to look for workarounds, and Zabbix API is the key thing to try to fix in the very roots. Let's refresh again. Okay, this is not going yet away. Okay, yeah, Zabbix API, what we can do is we can create a webhook, and webhook which will engage with Zabbix, it will use Zabbix API and engage with Zabbix API. And what it will do is it will, before onboarding the host, it will double check if any items are using interface and remove the interface before the host comes into the Zabbix. The webhook is also in this template. I will put somewhere in the description. So inside this template, I made a challenge to myself. Like first time in my life, I decided to bundle the install script apart with the template. So what it practically means, like as far as we have macro defined here, like we have Zabbix URL and session ID, how to engage with Zabbix API. We see the URL is matching here, the URL, and the session token happens to be made under the users API tokens. Click the button, create token. In the template, so let's show the scripts at first. Scripts is over here, and action. Let's remove this guy, delete, click, and delete this one, click. And what I will show, like the template is able to install new webhook, and this item is disabled, and it should remain disabled. It is like a convenience. I asked to use Postman in one of the videos, and now I think about alternative ways how to apply solution without using other software, and the solution is like inside the script item. There is like a logic which will add the new webhook, and this is tested with the 7.0 and 7.2. All we need to do is this session key and the valid URL. And what I will do, like there is right now, we are at the template level, and I will open this disabled item, click the install, and click test. Like it's in the template, and I'm clicking test, click, and voila, the webhook is done. So we don't need to click this anymore, never. And if we refresh the page, click, this is the webhook which is able to help us. The webhook kind of will receive host identification as a host name, and inside the script, let's open the script on screen. What it does, like it is locating the host ID and extracting all interfaces, how many interfaces are on the host level, and then it is kind of looking on all the templates and extracting the items, and this is the most important part, like the API method item get will ask like which items are actually using interface, and then the rest of the logic is kind of figuring out if the interface is really used or not. And I did encounter with the issue that if we have a lot of interfaces, then at first we need to remove those which are not the main ones. We cannot remove the primary immediately. So it kind of demands we need at first remove all the backup interfaces, and then as a cherry on top, we can finally remove the last main interface. Okay, this is the webhook, and it will do everything. And then all we need to do, alerts, actions, and edit my auto registration action. And the way how I onboard the Linux is this. I'm linking one template, Linux. This template will have a lot of child templates, but all the templates always use active checks only, never passive checks. That's my decision. And inside this auto registration, what we need to do is add some action. Actually, I want to show, before I'm doing this, I want to show how this works in a... where is the problem? Let's at first let's check if it's still a problem. We have no passive unknown interfaces, and going here, I will rename the host objects. I will add here B update, which should trigger auto registration, B, and so on. Yeah, like this. Okay, and one is coming back here, this one ZS. It did trigger the normal auto registration, and it made two interfaces. The active checks interface is used by the template, and the other one is like localhost, which will never be used. And obviously now the numbers should add up inside the global dashboard. Here we see number one is already one passive interface is used, and eventually the number will grow. Okay, need to have some time, but one host arrived. Okay, and now the solution, like to have this auto registration, alerts, actions, auto registration, and editing this thing, actions, and adding that remove unused ZBX interfaces. So this will be like when new server comes, which is supposed to use active checks only, it will add the template, it will add the host group, and it will remove the interface because this template does not require any interface. Update. Okay, the auto registration action is running. Let's have a look here. Now I have like, I don't know how many host objects. Click. Okay, cannot see. Yeah, we see the amount of objects are increasing. Let's refresh the page. And this one is new. This one is new. So here we see not used, not used, and okay, that's fine. And this one as well. It's a very fresh. Okay. Now the testing this patch, does it give any goods? And apply. Yeah, this is already running. Remove interface. So what I will do is start to delete these new onboarded hosts, and I will do it I guess manually. Delete. No, that's the wrong one. The green one. Click. So it's having interface, but which will never be used, and also having template. Delete. Okay. Looking on the IP addresses, host, and delete. Click. And again here, host, delete. Click. Okay, and maybe this one came back already with the new patch applied. Okay. Click. Aha, this is also a thing to fix. Okay, here the passive checks are used. All right, 1, 2, 3. I think I deleted 5. Okay. Yeah, this one looks already like having the patch, because I see the next line is having my B. So this, because it's grayed out, it means like it's a fresh host. If we refresh, like, it will be green. Yes, it is green. And so here, yeah, 1B, the pattern is the same, and this one is not having the interface anymore, and same applies here, SHAA. And again, like, this new host was successfully onboarded without any passive interface. Okay, yeah, that's practically everything I wanted to show. It is coming again. The host was arrived. Host arrived successfully, and no IP address is here. Quite elegant, awesome. And then it will start the active check monitoring, the Linux template. That is everything for this video. This is my personal preference, like using active checks as much as possible, and like really like avoid passive checks at all cost. There are some edge cases where I'm still using the passive checks, but this will be the way how I continue to use Zabbix, to have clean interface to all for the all numbers to make sense, and to be able to explain what sits behind that number. That's the idea. Okay, if you find this video helpful, give it a thumbs up. By the way, there is a playlist in this channel called Zabbix Reporting. This video will belong to that playlist. If you survived so far till the end, maybe you want to look on that playlist to have different tips on polishing instance or recognizing some inconsistencies. Okay, goodbye.